feel like not a lot of guys realize this, but being a simp is probably one of the hottest things you can do as a man. Being a loving, devoted partner, taking her out to dinner, opening her door, getting her flowers. Once you do all that, she's gonna run to all of her friends and brag about you. And she tells all
Yeah,
of her
I've seen this
friends
gal
about
before,
you,
and
they're gonna think of you
you
as a
know,
hero and think, oh, I wish I had a guy like that.
when you look at her profile, I'm not gonna pull it up, but I'll pull some other girls' profiles up. All you see is nothing but performative narcissism. Okay, so this gal she has all this dating advice, and I believe I'm not sure if this is the TradCon gal. She calls herself the TradCon wife. She looks similar. I don't know. Some of them look the same, but when you're a traditionally conservative woman, you are not on social media. Okay, that's an immutable law, and if you are, you're not traditionally conservative. You probably have some other motives, and usually they're subconscious. So she wants to go on the internet and talk about how it's good to be a simp. What she means is, if I like you, then you can be a simp. Okay, so let's go to the next clip.
Today's hot take is that being a simp is actually so attractive. Wow, that is really red. Like, guys will fully bully each other about being a simp. It's genuinely so attractive. And I just don't get why they get bullied for it. Like, it's so attractive, a guy knowing what they want and like being obsessed with you and like adoring you. Like, that's really attractive. Surely you girls have to agree that a simp is just the best thing ever. Every girl wants a simp.
Yeah, so I'm gonna roll right in this next clip because you can see what I'm talking about.
Men calling other men simps for treating women like decent human beings is actually insane to me. Like, damn, bro, you want me to spend this money on you instead of her? You are never a simp for loving, caring, nurturing, respecting, appreciating a woman who reciprocates that shit back to you. Speak.
Okay, you see what he said? Reciprocates. That's the key word there. And I do think that's pretty funny. It says, yeah, dude, should I spend the money on you? You know, again, these gals talk about dudes simping. They're not talking about simps. If you aren't reciprocating this love, or you're invested in that other individual, then it's not simping at all. Okay. But dudes who constantly pour attention and money and all this other stuff into women that are not mating with them, okay, that is simping.
If you want to date and you never want to get your heart broken or you're scared to, just date simps. They'll literally obsess over you. You're pretty much their whole world, and they'll be too busy attending you than going out and cheating. And why not date the
Yeah, that's true, but you're probably going to be going out and cheating because you're not attracted to that kind of person, and we could even go further.
Why not date the men that really want you? Like, why are you gonna deal with a bad boy that's gonna probably mess around, confuse you, and just treat you bad? So, advice of the day:
So
only
that's
date
the funny
simps.
thing, right? Is she's not even confident in making that statement because
Like, why are you gonna deal with a bad boy that's gonna...
she knows she too is attracted to bad boys. Okay. And what's funny about this gal's program here is that, again, when I pull up my trusty screen recorder, we're going to take a deep dive and we'll go ahead and look at her profile, because you can learn a lot by what people do. So let's take a look. So here's her profile. All right. So she's a decent looking gal, and I guess, I'm attracted to Latinas, so I'll give her a point for that. And, She has a lot of followers, and all you see on her profile, like a lot of other women, is nothing but performative narcissism. Okay. So here's a picture where she's showing something low cut. Here's a picture where you can see her. Here's a picture where you can see her. I mean, so, you know, this is how this gal acts. And what's funny is, you go into this clip. I guess I could get a little deeper, but because I lived in Mexico, I find this a little bit funny. So I want to watch this clip.
I'm gonna go work as an etiquette here in Mexico. Let's see how much I make. I heard working a full day in Mexico will get you 250 pesos, which is approximately $14.50. And that is for low skilled jobs, probably like customer service or people that work in the campo, also known as agriculture workers. My job today is to put on some heels and promote the business. They gave me this big old baggy shirt, but I fixed it up like this. I'm supposed to be promoting these tools and the paint company, but since I have the no sabo accent, my homegirl out here is gonna be doing the Spanish speaking. And let me tell you, homegirl saved me. Didn't let me off the hook. He made me say it in English. And besides
Okay, so she spoke in English. I'm not going to rag on her too much, but, what's funny about these gals is that a no sabo means you're basically a white girl. All right, so you can't speak Spanish. And a lot of people in the United States who call themselves Mexican, okay, I don't walk around saying I'm an Irishman, I may be of Irish descent, but I was not born in Ireland, therefore I am not Irish, okay? And if you're not born in Mexico, you are not Mexican. You are of Hispanic descent, but you're not a Mexican. If you're born in the United States, you're American. And the Mexicans that I know get pretty irritated when people from the United States come down there, especially ones that don't speak Spanish, okay, or don't speak it well, and they call themselves Mexican. It's kind of insulting. So that's kind of what's going on here. But I'm not going to just tear this whole girl up about her heritage. I just thought I'd bring that to your attention. And, you say that a low skilled job is like working in customer service. And to me, being a promotional model is a low skilled job. But whatever. Let's go to the next clip.
I love Simps. Every time I say this on the internet, people try to convince me that I'm wrong. Like, nothing is uglier to me than a nonchalant man. Nothing is uglier to me than a guy that is not all about me, a guy that doesn't baby me, a guy that doesn't take care of me, someone that plays that hot and cold game. I'm also such a simp. Like, it's so disgusting to admit, because once I'm in love with you, I will drown you with affection, so I only want the same in return. Oh, girls always say they want a simp, but then they go for the bad guy. No. Yes, I want a guy to take care of me. Yes, I want a guy to be masculine. Yes, I want him to be confident. When it comes to him loving me, I want him to be vomiting love for me, okay?
Yeah, I know you. Okay, what you say you want and what you respond to, we all know. The industry held standard is that is two different things. So, again, if you were looking for a certain type of thing, look at how you're putting yourself out in the world. So, you say you want a simp, but you're acting in a way that would attract a bad boy. Okay. So again, the performative narcissism, all that kind of stuff like that. Now I don't see this gal's profile here, but, I'm pretty sure it's the same scenario with her. Let's see if I can find her and look at her profile. So, yeah, here she is. Okay, so, it's always the same story. Look at me, world. All of these pictures of her wearing provocative clothing. Okay, this is provocative. That's provocative. That's provocative. And she does lashes, here's my email, here's my website. She's trying to monetize whatever it is that she's trying to do. But, I guarantee you this person is not responding to a simp. And again, women respond to people that, if they're showing them love, okay, and they're attracted to this dude, then it's not simping if he reciprocates that. So that's really the essence of it. So she's not talking about a simp. What she's saying is, I want a particular man and I want him to treat me this way. But the problem is that those men that women are typically attracted to, okay, I'm sorry, the men that women are typically attracted to typically have more things going on and they typically have options, right? So why is he going to pick her? You know, you got to ask yourself that question. Let's go to the next clip. Now this one has music on it, so I'm going to pause it. It says most women, quote, I hate simps, you know, and then, you know, she's looking good, me, a simp lover. So she's acting like a simp or whatever. I don't really know what that clip is trying to articulate. But again, if we go back and we look at our stream here and we identify where that woman was, I don't know if I'll be able to find her now. Yeah, I can't find her, and I'm not going to look further. But I'm willing to bet it's the same kind of thing. You know, she's all over the internet. Her body's all over the internet, and she's making these. Here she is, right here. Okay, her name is J Alexa. So she's a radio personality. She has 225,000 followers, and the number one pinned video of her is her walking in a swimsuit with some, it doesn't even matter what the statement she made was. We all know why it's getting that many hits on TikTok. Okay, so more performative narcissism. That's all you see all over this page, you know, her in skimpy outfits trying to attract attention, you know. So let's go to the next video.
A simp is only a simp until he finds out who you truly are. Ladies, you gotta understand that most men start out as simps and then become like Future. Or they don't tolerate stuff no more as they grow older. But if a man sees who you truly are, even if he's a simp, he's not going to be simping for you no more. I promise you that. In fact, you're helping his growth, but you're losing your attention and everything else you get from him. And trust me, I know, because I used to be a simp in the past. I used to be all the way and back in high school. That's years ago. But yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, the thing is that, you know, everybody has essentially, you know, been a quote simp or had a girl that they worked way too hard for. And the reason why is because, you know, they were trying to do everything they could to gain someone's favor. And I learned this lesson really early on. Like, for some reason, most of my life, I've never acted like this. But when I was like 18, I met this girl and she was a model. And, you know, I was really into her. And I got so outside of myself trying to appeal to her because I couldn't quite pinpoint it. And some things transpired, and she actually articulated to me that she wanted something with me. But I had overshot the runway so much that it screwed the whole scenario up. And I learned from that mistake, and I never made it again, right? I didn't let the beauty of a woman impact how I treated myself. Okay, so I always kept myself in a certain way. And it's kind of funny because I went out with a girl earlier this year, and I wouldn't necessarily call it simping, but I would say that, you know, I was very clear about what I wanted, but because she had so much male attention, in order for me to have maintained that particular individual, I probably would have had to back off and have been very manipulative and mind game like. And quite frankly, I didn't want to do that. So I actually, you know, didn't talk to her after that because I realized it just wasn't going in the direction that it should. And, you know, again, if you feel like you're sacrificing something about yourself to appeal to this other individual, then it's never going to be worth it. At least that's what I've experienced so far. But this clip right here, I think, basically says everything I just said. So take a listen.
What is a simp? There's a lot of confusion about what a simp is. Some people say a simp is just a guy who is nice to women. But to me, that is not what a simp is. To me, a simp is a man who disrespects himself for women. That being said, two guys could do the same things. For one man, it's simping, and for the other man, it's not, and is based on the history of that man and woman. For example, if a guy gives all sorts of his time, attention, and resources to a woman who doesn't even appreciate or respect that man, that guy is simping. But another man who gives a lot of his time and attention and really cares for a woman that cares for him back, that man is not simping. The disrespect.
Okay, exactly. The key word here is reciprocity. And, you know, sometimes a woman will even respect you, okay, but for whatever reason, she may not be attracted to you, okay? And there have been scenarios like that with me, especially. You know, I kind of laugh inside when a girl says that, especially now, the way, especially American women have become so delusional. I mean, it's been a long time since a girl said that I wasn't into you or whatever, but it has happened to me before. But again, you know, if the reciprocity is not there, I disengage. And I'm not really friends with women, you know. The only women that I'm friends with are girls that I've been involved with. Okay. So, you know, we have a history. When I say involved with, I mean we slept together at some point. And, you know, I don't even talk to these individuals on a regular basis. But if there's some line of connection that's made or maintained, you know, whether frequently or infrequently, that's the reason why. But anyway, I just thought I'd make this video that kind of articulates that. You know, a guy mentioned to me, he said, you know, I'm 27 and I'm good looking and I make a lot of money, but I still can't get women, you know. And yeah, it can be complicated, and I don't know how they're perceiving you or anything like this, but this is kind of what came to mind, you know, like how are you approaching the marketplace? And I'll go more into it in future videos, but be sure to subscribe, like, and comment, and I'll catch you in the next one.